Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. This is the latest installment of the ecommotors D.O.G podcast. D.O.G is Drive Online Growth. It's why we exist as a business, and we're delighted to be with you here today. And we're going to talk about the Automechanika Birmingham event. But before we do that, just a couple of moments giving you a bit more background on ecommotors. We are a joint venture dedicated to the automotive aftermarket e-commerce industry. We're composed of Emotive Online, which is a full-service managed services provider, and Volo, which is a tech provider with systems for online trading and also reporting and analytics. And so together we are ecommotors, and we exist to help you scale up your business, scale up your automotive aftermarket e-commerce business by automating your multi-channel sales and getting you growing fast and getting you profitable on your online distribution markets. So my name is Paul Dilger. I look after Volo Commerce. I'm going to pass you on now to Andrew, who's going to introduce himself.
Hello, everybody, and my name is Andrew Rowson, and I look after Emotive Online, and that's the service element. So what's on the agenda today, Paul?
First item on the agenda then, Andrew, is for those who weren't at Automechanika Birmingham, what was it like? Because we were there. It took up halls 18, 19 and 20 of the NEC. There were many brands and manufacturers exhibiting there. We were exhibiting also at stand S102. And it was a very busy, very fun event with over 12,000 visitors over the 3 days. Hopefully you were there.
So let me just break down what you've just said. So first of all, what is Automechanika? For those that don't understand what Automechanika is, Paul.
So Automechanika is the primary event in the UK for any organisation involved in aftermarket e-commerce and aftermarket generally. E-commerce is an increasingly important and growing part of the whole aftermarket picture, but it's the largest event. It runs every 2 years, the largest event in the UK, everything to do with parts, accessories and tools that are to do with any type of vehicle that you've bought. Once you've bought it, it's yours. And it's stuff that you're doing to replace on your car or enhance your vehicle or whatever it might be. But it was the first event for 4 years because, of course, 2 years ago we were in the depths of a COVID depression and the event didn't happen.
No, and I have to say, if you don't know what Automechanika is, this is probably the wrong podcast for you, isn't it, really? Because, this is very automotive focused. And if you have never seen it, then you've been asleep for about 4 years. Agree? Disagree?
Yes, I think that's very fair. Quite harshly and brutally put, Andrew, but...
Oh, no. Well, no. We're not harsh on the dog podcast here, Paul. We're not. We may say some truths, but we're not harsh. It's all based on fact. Now, also, I just want to say, Paul did tell you the booth number, S102. Please don't go. It finished, so we're no longer there at this moment in time. But we were there for 3 days. And what are the troopers on that booth? And if you've ever staffed a booth, if you've ever been part of a show, it's hard work, would you say?
Absolutely. We had a good number of people from ecommotors. We had technology staff there. We had services staff there. We had people who work behind the scenes. We had people who are front of house on the sales and marketing side. And there were always at least 2 or 3 people on the booth. Most of the time we had 6 staff either on the booth or walking the floor because we had a lot of meetings that were pre-booked that we needed to attend to. But I have to say it was a very, very successful event from our perspective. We invested a lot in the event. It's as I mentioned, the main event on the automotive aftermarket calendar. But it was a really very well organized event. Lots of exhibitors, lots of good content, lots of panel discussions, more on that later. But for you, Andrew, what were your impressions of Automechanika Birmingham?
Well, first of all, seeing your smiling face at the end and you saying it was a good event, that really just made my day, because I've been on many events with you, Paul, and that's the first time you've ever said that to me. So that is great. I actually recorded it just in case Paul changes his mind, but, you know, it was great. But I agreed. It was fantastic. You know, if you've been to Automechanika in Germany, which kind of is like a mini town in respects of the space it takes, it's a smaller event than that. But I've got to say, the who's who of automotive and aftermarket was there. And it was really busy on the first day on our booth with the people that we had and the people visiting. You couldn't move. So it was great. And we talking to friends and colleagues that worked in other organizations that had space, they all echoed the same. And, you know, as you well know, if you're in the aftermarket industry, everyone knows everyone else. So it was a great opportunity for us all to get to see each other and maybe have a coffee if you wanted to queue for the coffee, which there was a few queues around there as well, or something a little bit more stronger like a Coca-Cola. But yes, there was, you know, everyone was networking and it was a great event at all. So yeah, no, it was good. It's good. Did I answer your question, Paul?
Yes, it did. And just to remind the audience that, of course, other brands of soda or fizzy pop are, of course, available. One other question that would be useful to people, I think, Andrew, that couldn't make the event was, what was the mood like with regard to the online side of things? Obviously, there's been a lot of talk about the fact that maybe automotive is a little bit slower to embrace e-commerce than some of the other retail categories. But what kind of conversations were you having? Do you feel like the audience is ready to fully embrace e-commerce, or has it in fact already done it? And if you're not in it, you're starting to miss out.
Well, anyone who knows me knows I'm very shy and it's hard for me to start having a conversation with people. But when I got going, we were, you know, absolutely everyone was talking about online in some form or another, whether it's social media. It was about having a B2B site and an outlet in order for their customers to purchase, or it was embracing and understand B2C and where that could come into the strategy for different brands and manufacturers. There was a lot of resellers visiting the show, and these are resellers that have bricks and mortar and embracing the total omni-channel opportunity where they're selling online as well. You know, I think we spoke to over 100 different resellers that visited our booth. And, you know, it was great that people were interested. They wanted to get to know more about online. And we were there to help with that education process.
Very good. And I think a large part of the level of engagement that we had with people that came to the stand was that we had some news to share about one of the major partners in the industry that we are integrating with from a tech perspective. So we are a partner of TechCom, which is part of Tech Alliance, and we were able to demonstrate how the Volo system connects to the TechCom system to really drive productivity especially for our resellers, but for anyone who is looking to sell their aftermarket parts. And you know, TechCom is a big organization. It's been around for a long time. It obviously holds all of the data associated with the 100+ suppliers that it works with, and it's got a number of modules that we're integrating into the Volo system. It's got orders, and those might be standard orders or express orders, or in actual fact, drop ship orders. There's a refunds element, there's a stock and pricing information, the data element, and also there's an invoicing element as well. So what we're trying to do is to make it much easier for our manufacturers, resellers, and distributors to use TechCom to automate that end-to-end process of listing their products, finding out if their supplier has the products, getting those products, and then getting them shipped either to the reseller or direct to the ultimate buyer. And one of our customers who is trialing the project with us has estimated that it's going to be something like a 70% saving for the vast majority of business that they're going to be putting through. So it's going to really yield some fabulous productivity gains for our customers. And what about you, Andrew? What was your view of the level of interest in what we're doing with TechCom at the moment?
So actually, I just want to say one thing. I don't want to underestimate the power of TechCom and what we're doing. We are the first software provider that has integrated TechCom in the UK. So this is a fully authorized and totally tested integration. So, anything else out there is not gone through that process, which then means you've got the quality of both the TechCom system and the Volo system all totally underwritten there. So I think that's something to celebrate.
I would indeed, and obviously anyone listening to this podcast who wants to see the demo of the end-to-end process for automating your business processes, then please do visit ecommotors.com and get in touch with us via our contact form, and we can show you that demo. We can demonstrate to you how you can improve the way you're currently doing your business, drive both your top line and your bottom line profitability. So yeah, I would agree wholeheartedly, Andrew. And earlier in this podcast, I talked about the amount of content that was available to attendees at the Automechanika Birmingham event, which ran from the 6th to the 8th of June 2023. Andrew, you were an expert panelist in a session around online marketplaces, challenges and opportunities. That was a very well attended panel event, and we had a lot of traffic to the booth as a result of your attendance at it. But can you sort of encapsulate for our podcast audience where you think online marketplaces are heading and what companies should be doing?
So first of all, it was great that Automechanika put on this panel discussion, because they can see that they understand that online is a discussion point. And I was really honored to be invited to that discussion. So there was 4 of us, online seller. There was myself from an experienced online multi-channel automotive point of view, somebody from an analytical point from Frost & Sullivan, and there was also a manufacturer from Ring Automotive as part of that panel. We all had different viewpoints, but one thing we did agree is that online is here to stay. So online B2C is whether you embrace it or support as a brand your resellers on there, you haven't got to ignore it on that side. I think one thing is, as well, we discussed about some of the fears, and we have a phrase that we use around these parts a lot, is what you don't know, you don't know. And that's one of the things that we at Ecom Motors want to try and do, is try and educate. And this is why you've got 2 grown men doing these podcasts, in order to try and help part of that education. Well, one grown man, you may be able to choose which one out of the 2 of us is that grown man. But anyway, so one thing, one question we did ask is, how many returns online would you think there is in the automotive category? Paul, do you know the answer to that question?
Well, I do know the answer, Andrew, because I attended the panel discussion, but I don't want to steal your thunder. So I do remember there being a lot of guesses, between around 20% and 50% from the audience. Perhaps you'd like to share with us what the actual number is.
Well, it's a lot lower than that, Paul. It is 2%. And that is a lot lower than traditional B2B returns. Because as you well know, a trader will buy something from a distributor or from the manufacturer, and they will sometimes buy 2 for the same car because they don't know which model of car it is. They don't know which year the car is. And that's based a little bit on the data that's provided around B2B. Because B2C is a different journey, and it's make, model, year, shape, people know what car they drive, that data is more exact. So we make sure that the right part is in the customer's hands at the right time. And have you heard about the program that eBay's trying in the US, Paul, around them underwriting that fitment? Have you heard about that?
I don't think I have, Andrew.
So it is called the Fitment Guarantee Program. So if you do buy the wrong item, eBay will actually pay for the return of that item. And that is so much that they're actually embraced in the customer's journey and helping promote the online sellers on their platform, they're willing to offer that element. And that's coming to the UK as well. So start seeing that in certain categories, and that'll be rolled out as well. So I think that's an awesome program as well. That means the buyers win, and that also means the sellers win it at both sides as well. And they're not got that additional costs in those returns. So, that's a fantastic program that they're buying into.
Very good. Thanks for that, Andrew.
So the panel discussion, I think everyone left that understanding that online is here to stay, as I said earlier. And again, I was really happy to offer my experience and help people with my knowledge in that area. I'm just glad it wasn't a fashion panel discussion, because it would have been a really, really short one on my part, as you well know, Paul.
Quite so, Andrew. And for those who want a bit more information into what kind of answers and what kind of expertise Andrew was able to share in that panel discussion, we will be putting together a collated video of all of his responses to the specific questions, because we think it will prove quite insightful and instructive for the audience. So do look out for that. So finally, what are your parting thoughts for those companies that didn't get to talk to us at Automechanika Birmingham, weren't able to attend? If they have been inspired or motivated by this podcast to find out more about online multi-channel automation in the aftermarket, what should they be doing next?
Well, that was an easy one. Reach out to us, ask questions. We are available most times of the day, where you can reach out to us on email, also through LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, through Instagram, also on our website, ecommotors.com. Fill out the form that pops up, or if you've got a few minutes, just browse there and you'll see the contact us page where you can fill that out as well. And even if, like I said, what you don't know, you don't know. So if you just want to have a conversation about your business, about what your what your views are about online, reach out to us, because we're there to talk to you. And it will be our pleasure to do that.
Very good. Thank you very much, Andrew. Just to reiterate what Andrew said then, so the website is ecommotors.com. There's two M's in the middle of ecommotors. Our email is revup, REVUP, at ecommotors.com. And if you're one of those people that likes to actually eyeball the people that you might be buying services from, you can catch us at events. If you didn't see us at Automechanika Birmingham, you will be able to see us in September at eBay Open. We're going to be in Manchester in mid-September, and we're going to be in London towards the end of September. And also in another podcast, we'll be talking about the US market in a bit more detail. And there are very important and large events coming up on the US aftermarket calendar as well. And so thank you very much, Andrew Rowson from Emotive Online and Ecommotors. I have been Paul Dilger from Volo and Ecommotors. And this was a Ecommotors D.O.G podcast.
That was more a wolf, wasn't
it? It was. It wasn't to your normal high standard, but we'll let it go. There's room for improvement there. Thanks all for listening, and bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.